Okay, so I know this is really unconventional, but I'm going to tell my labor and delivery story while I'm driving because this is the only time that I have, and I've been wanting to do this for so long. So let's just get into it. My labor and delivery, I'd say it was pretty much just as planned, except for I didn't get to do it at home like I wanted to. But it was my first baby, and my mom and my husband convinced me that the hospital is a better choice just because I haven't done it before and I had no idea like what's gonna happen. So I had my little girl at the hospital, and I wanted to do all natural, no epidurals, no IV, no Pitocin or anything else. So I had a midwife, and I told my midwife all of these things, and I had concerns that if I did use painkillers that my baby might it might affect my baby or it might affect me. I know that epidurals, I have talked to people that use them, and they said that they didn't work in the way that they wanted the epidural to work. Or I know somebody that still has back problems because she didn't get the epidural the right way. I know somebody that they did get an epidural, and it affected their brain. There's something in their brain. I know that's crazy, and it's actually, if you do get an epidural, that's very, very small chance that could happen, but it did happen to that person. Anyways, I heard a lot of horror stories basically about just like using epidurals and just being on painkillers. So because of that, I decided, okay, I really want to go the natural route. And the main reason why I wanted to do natural is because I just felt in my own mind and my body that it's just the best way for me to have my baby. I just felt that's just the best way to do it. So anyways, my midwife, she's like, okay, well, if you want to do that, she said, that's a very little percentage of people actually want no painkillers. Actually, before I had a midwife, I had an OBGYN. The reason why I did is because my husband was like, whatever you want to do, just, he preferred the hospital. He wasn't even trying to like really convince me to use the hospital. He just really preferred it because, it's our first baby and we don't know what's going to happen. So anyways, so I had an OBGYN first, and then I decided to switch to a midwife because I just felt like the OBGYN was really going towards the like too much of a medical type of procedure. And like there was, okay, my specific OBGYN, one time she's like, oh, are you scared? Are you scared of this? And it's like, it's such a leading question. Why would you ask a pregnant lady, especially if it's her first baby, if you're scared? That's such a leading question. I didn't like that. And another thing I didn't like is when I did tell my OBGYN that I wanted to have a natural birth and have no painkillers or anything like that, she was like, she looked kind of shocked, and she was like, oh, that's really brave of you to do that. And she almost like tried to talk me out of it, and I didn't feel comfortable with her basically. So that's why I decided to have a midwife. Now, I'm not saying that all OBGYNs are horrible or anything like that. It's just in my experience, that's what happened. So I decided to have a midwife. And the midwife, she was amazing, and I loved her. I picked the exact midwife that I really liked at the very end, almost like a week before I gave birth. I'm so glad. It's a long story from all the stuff that I went through. There was actually like a point where I didn't even have time to go to the appointments, like for a good 3 months. But anyways, it's a long story. Back to the actual labor. So she's like, okay, I had a birth plan, and in my birth plan, first of all, she told me make sure that all the nurses and everybody gets a copy because, if you do it at a hospital and you have a specific way you want to give birth, they need to know that because they have their own ways that are kind of like robotic for them. Like, for example, usually they like to stick in, I don't know what it's called, but it's like this thing that they stick in, so if you need an epidural, it's easier for them to give you the epidural. It's like on your arm. I didn't want anything stuck into me, so I wanted to be able to easily just be mobile and move around while I'm in labor. So anyways, my midwife is like, okay, you need to be 5 centimeters dilated, so when you come in, first of all, you're there for a less amount of time, so it'll be less likely that you'll actually ask for any painkillers or anything like that. So that's what I did. So I stayed home. My water broke 24 hours before I went in, and when my water broke, I called in the hospital right away. I called in to my midwife, and she's like, okay, that's great. Well, obviously she was like, you know, trying to make sure I'm calm and things like that, and she was like, once you're 5 centimeters dilated, you know, come on in. And she was like, how are your contractions doing? My contractions, first I didn't understand what was going on, because, you know, I'm having my first baby. I'm like, wait a minute, are these, like, what is this? Is this Braxton Hicks? Because I was 1 week early. I delivered exactly 1 week before my due date. And a lot of the nurses and my midwife was saying that I might be late, which I was not late. They were saying I would deliver after my due date, which I didn't. And I kind of had a feeling like myself that I'm going to deliver either on the due date or before. Anyways, it was March 16th, and I went into the hospital. I slept at home. It was actually pretty fine. My contractions, they did kind of hurt. It felt like cramps. It felt like super, super strong cramps. Strongest cramps I ever had. So when we were driving to the hospital, I was already 5 centimeters dilated, and I couldn't even like sit very well in the seat. I'm so thankful. I was 10 minutes away from the hospital. So thankful for that, because I could barely sit very good in the seat. Anyways, so I get in the hospital, and the nurse, once she's checking me in, I had to wait there for like a good 15 minutes. And mind you, I'm like 5 centimeters dilated. I'm waiting there because, first of all, they confused me with some other patient. And in that hospital, I pre-registered, so they would already have all my information. But I have to sit there and wait. So I'm like breathing, trying to like, oh, I also was listening to music. Any of you that are pregnant and want some tips on just like how to go through your pregnancy and like make it easier, for me, what helped me a lot is to have the music that you really love to listen to that makes you feel good. So I had hip-hop music, and I also had some relaxing music for later when it was time to push. So I was listening to hip-hop and just like really pumped up energy type of music. I don't know, it helped me. So anyways, finally got called in to go into the where you have your baby. I think it's there's 2 rooms. There's one room, I think it's the labor room, and then there's the delivery room, something like that. Anyways, I went in, they called me in, and the nurse comes in. I've never seen this nurse before, and she's like, oh, are you ready for your epidural? I'm like, what are you talking about? I don't want an epidural. I showed her my birth plan, and she's like, oh, you don't want an, oh, she's like, okay. And then she starts telling me all these horrible, mind you, I'm in labor, like I'm getting ready to have a baby, and she's telling me all these horrible stories of how I should definitely have at least an IV, because what if something goes wrong, and like basically trying to talk me into this. And I'm like, are you kidding me? She wants me to lie down on the bed. I'm like, I want to walk around. I want to be able to dance. I want to be able to listen to music, because that's how I get my mind off of it, you know? And she's like, okay, basically I asked her to leave because she was just like making me feel uncomfortable. And my midwife came in, and then she told me like some specific breathing techniques that I should do that would help, which I did. She basically said, breathe really like, I don't know if low or like deep is the right term, but basically she told me to do this. Ooh, 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 ooh. I know it's really funny that I did that right now, but that helps. That helps with how you're feeling, I guess. And that's what I was doing just to go through the process. I was going, ooh, ooh, ooh. They also say try not to scream once you're pushing. Especially scream. I know that sounds crazy, right? Hello, you're in pain. But try not to scream high-pitched, super loud. That doesn't help the baby. It has to do something about the baby. Anyways, what the nurse did help me in, which I was really thankful for, is she said that there's a hot tub available. I didn't even think about using the hot tub, but since she offered it, I'm like, yes, I will definitely take it, because I was I think once I was like 7 centimeters dilated, I was dancing, but it was hard for me at that point. I was like ready to push this baby out at 7 centimeters, and she was like, okay, well, do you want to use the hot tub? I was like, yes. And my husband was there the whole time. He was amazing. I was holding his hand throughout the whole thing. I felt so supported because of that, and I'm so thankful for just like having him around. So after the hot tub, I felt like I was ready to push. So the midwife came in and she's like, okay, well, you have to get out of the hot tub. And I was already 10 centimeters dilated in the hot tub. And I was like, can I just push in here? I was so comfortable in there. It was so much better. I mean, it wasn't like easy, like relaxing thing, but it was way better than being out of it. Because just the water was warm and you just feel a lot better just being in there. And she's like, no, you have to get out. So I had to, like, my baby was coming out, like I was ready to push, and that time I had to get out of the bathtub, go to the bed, walk over. It was like maybe, I don't know how many feet it was, the bed and the bathtub were apart, but anyways, I had to walk over and lay on the bed to push, which I didn't want to do that. I wish if I got to do this again, I would have picked at home birth in a hot tub. That would be my like perfect scenario. Anyways, so yeah, so I got out and I went on the bed, and then obviously I'm not gonna go into like TMI type of stuff, but you know, it was time to push, and thankfully I was there the whole time in the hospital. I was there 4 hours during the whole labor and pushing time, and then they told me, and then I had my beautiful, wonderful little girl, and oh my goodness, if you guys are expecting your baby, if you haven't ever just like gave birth before, if this is your first baby, wow, it's such a wonderful, beautiful feeling. Like once you have your baby and hold her in your arms. Once I pushed her out, I did not want them to take her away. I was like, I didn't want them to cut the umbilical cord right away. I told them to just bring her over to me right away. So she was born, and I was like, give me my baby, give me my baby. So I was holding her. You know, skin to skin contact is very, very healthy for the baby, and you know, the bonding between the mother and the baby. So I did that. My husband was there. He filmed it all. It was so magical. So anyways, after that, he cut the umbilical cord, you know, all of that stuff. They washed her, and then we went into the room where you already have your baby. I think it's called the delivery room. I forgot. I cannot believe I forgot. She's already 7 months old, you guys. Okay, so we're in the delivery room. We were there for 24 hours, and then we got to go home. They almost didn't let us go home right away because they were doing tests on her, and I didn't like that at all. Like, they were taking her blood samples, and I'm like, she was just born, my poor little thing, and now you're like poking her and getting blood from her. I was like, can't she just like live a little bit, like give her some. I didn't like that they were poking her and doing all those things, but they had to because it's like a hospital thing, and it's like, okay, cool. Like, I don't know, I was like, for her safety, I guess. I don't know, I just agreed to it. Anyways, so they did that, took her blood sample, and they almost didn't let us go because they thought she had a little bit of jaundice, but then they ran some more tests and they said she was good to go. So I'm like, okay, great. So yeah, so then that's my labor and delivery. I mean, it's so surreal, the whole process. You go through so much pain, especially if you don't have an epidural. I don't know, I never had an epidural, so I can't like compare it but from the stories that I hear, I feel like it's better to try not to get it. Now, when I was 10 centimeters dilated, I was ready to have that epidural. I was like, oh my gosh, this hurts, you guys. But I didn't. And then afterwards, I was so thankful that I didn't. And now, thinking back, if I ever will have another baby, I would definitely try my best to do at-home water birth. So it is possible, because before, since this was my first pregnancy, I was so nervous. I was like, I hear all these stories about how like it feels like you're getting stabbed in the stomach and whatever. Yes, it'll hurt a lot, but it is so worth it. Like the feeling you get after you give birth, you forget about that pain instantly. And that just like, seriously, it's the best feeling ever. So anyone that's pregnant, congratulations. And you guys, you're going to do great. Just think positively and listen to your midwife, listen to your doctor, OBGYN, whoever is there. Make sure you're listening to yourself and how you feel. If you feel like you want something a certain way, make sure that your doctors understand, you know? And I think you're going to do awesome. You're going to do great. So yeah, so that was my labor and delivery. So anyone that's pregnant or about to have a baby, good luck, congratulations. Like I said before, it's a wonderful thing. And it hurts like hell, but it's so worth it. So yeah. And sorry that I had to do this like driving. I don't even know how the video quality is gonna be because it's raining where I'm at right now, but I really wanted to get a video out there. This video is pretty long, but I'm gonna try and see how I can do this. Like, I want to make more videos, but I don't know, like, having my cute little angel, the time, just, like, it doesn't work out for me. I'm always super busy, so I don't know, I have to figure it out. But I'll try to make another video soon. Maybe I'll show her to you guys. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. I'll have to talk to my husband and see what he says. But I think that's pretty much it. And I just hope everyone that's watching has a beautiful, wonderful day. And I'll try to make some videos soon. And to the subscribers that I have right now, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much for sticking through, because I know I haven't made a video in a long time. I shouldn't even be talking about that. Who cares, right? I mean, yeah. I don't know. Anyways, yeah, peace out. Bye, you guys.